In a noisy world, the calmest voice is the most powerful. Stillness isn't retreat, it's control. It's knowing when to speak and, more importantly, when not to. Stillness is your edge. Stillness is your superpower.
But here's the thing, emotions are wild. They don't care about logic or reason. They don't care about timing. 1 minute you're soaring, everything feels right. You're filled with hope, your heart racing in excitement, feeling like nothing can stop you. And then, just like that, the next moment fear sweeps in. Doubt creeps up on you. Frustration takes over your mind, and suddenly, everything you were so sure of seems uncertain.
Every morning, we wake up and run. Run to check our phones, run through traffic, run after money, status, validation. We're overstimulated, overworked, and underfocused. Life is happening at the speed of distraction. But here's the truth. The faster you move, the less you see. The world moves fast, but wisdom moves slow. Real power isn't in moving faster, it's in seeing clearly. And clarity only comes in stillness. Stillness strips away the noise and reveals what truly matters. It's in those moments of silence that we reconnect with our deepest intentions.
Well, there's a season in your own life. Some of your viewers are younger, maybe 0 to 21. Think of that as springtime. When it's springtime, what does spring have? Everything grows easily. If it's a springtime in business, you think you're a genius because your business grows. Everybody's business grows because it's a time of tremendous optimism and immense growth. The environment's different. People's attitudes are different. But these cycles go through 18, 20-year cycle.
The power of pause. Imagine standing in a river. If the water is muddy and fast, you see nothing. But when it slows, when it becomes still, everything becomes visible. Your mind works the same way. Stillness gives you perspective. It allows you to observe your thoughts rather than be consumed by them. You don't react, you respond. You start to understand that emotional mastery isn't about suppressing feelings, it's about understanding them, sitting with them, choosing your response. This power of pause allows you to interrupt automatic behavior. You stop being a victim of impulse and begin living with intention.
Emotions is developing awareness. By understanding the source of our emotions, we empower ourselves to navigate them effectively and thoughtfully. Awareness begins with acknowledging that emotions are not random. They arise from specific triggers, whether external situations, internal thoughts, or deeply ingrained beliefs and past experiences. For instance, feelings of anger might stem from a sense of injustice, frustration from unmet expectations, or sadness from a sense of loss. Each emotion carries a message, and recognizing this message is essential for understanding why we feel the way we do.
Marcus Aurelius ruled the Roman Empire at its peak. In Meditations, he reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Despite wars, politics, and pressure, he sought calm. He began his days early in quiet contemplation. He viewed challenges not as curses, but as chances to practice character. He faced betrayal, illness, and loss, and remained still. He knew that true strength isn't loud, it's composed. He was never the loudest emperor, but he was the wisest. His stillness helped shape decisions that led an empire through crisis.
5 minutes of quiet time, 5 minutes for you to be mindful and to just sit and find that inner voice and just kind of listen to the self. And preferably would be in the morning as you start your day. I meditate every day. And I do it in the mornings, and I do it for about 10 to 15 minutes. And I think it's important because it sets me up for the rest of the day.
The myth of multitasking. We glorify busyness. We think the more tabs we have open, the more productive we are. But multitasking is just doing many things poorly at once. Stillness doesn't mean doing nothing. It means doing one thing fully, completely, intentionally. When you're present, even washing dishes becomes a form of meditation. Walking without music becomes an act of grounding. Listening becomes a gift. Presence unlocks excellence. Athletes enter a flow state. Artists disappear into their brushstrokes. Great thinkers stare out windows, appearing idle, yet shaping history.
Well, here's an example from one of our smokers. She said, mindful smoking, smells like stinky cheese and tastes like chemicals. Yuck. Now, she knew cognitively that smoking was bad for her. That's why she joined our program. What she discovered just by being curiously aware when she smoked was that smoking tastes like shit. Now, she moved from knowledge to wisdom. She moved from knowing in her head that smoking was bad for her to knowing it in her bones.
The eye of the storm. Stillness isn't about removing yourself from the storm. It's about becoming the eye of it. In the center of a hurricane, there is calm. Leaders, creators, and visionaries learn to find that center. When everything around you is chaos, your stillness becomes your leadership. People trust those who don't panic. People follow those who remain composed.
Viktor Frankl's inner freedom. Viktor Frankl survived the Holocaust, not through brute strength, but through spiritual resilience. He said, "Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response." He lost everything, but in that small inner space, he found power, meaning, stillness. When you slow down, that space opens. And when it does, you gain power, not over others, but over yourself. It's not about ignoring pain, it's about facing it with clarity. Recognizing that while you can't always control what happens, you can always control what it means to you.
Seneca and voluntary discomfort. Seneca was one of the richest men in Rome, but once a month he lived as if he were poor, wearing rough clothes, eating the simplest food, sleeping on the ground. Why? He wanted to ask himself, is this what I feared? He knew that fear of discomfort is worse than discomfort itself. By choosing stillness and simplicity, he trained himself not to be shaken by loss. Seneca understood that true resilience is born in discomfort, and that stillness practiced in peace becomes a shield in chaos.
I headed off to the Himalayas. I became a monk and I started studying meditation. People often ask me, what I learned from that time. Well, obviously it changed things, Let's face it, becoming a celibate monk is going to change a number of things. But it was more than that. It taught me, it gave me a greater appreciation and understanding for the present moment.
How to practice stillness. You don't need a mountain retreat. You need intention. Start your day without your phone for 10 minutes. Breathe deeply before every difficult conversation. Sit in silence for 5 minutes a day. Observe your thoughts without judgment. Walk slowly. Eat slowly. Live slowly. Practice journaling as Marcus Aurelius did. Try periods of voluntary discomfort as Seneca taught. Stillness isn't the absence of life. It's the presence of awareness. The more you slow down, the more you start to see. And what you see is yourself. That self, stripped of noise and ego, is your most powerful version.
In a loud world, silence speaks volumes. In a fast world, stillness leads. Stillness is not weakness. It's presence. It's power. It's peace. So stop chasing. Start listening. Start breathing. Start mastering yourself, because the calmest mind wins the war. If this message brought you clarity, like the video, subscribe for more. And remember, stillness isn't a pause in life. It's how life begins to make sense. And always remember, in stillness, you don't lose time, you gain life.